Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in again. I want to give you a comparison video between these three devices right here. We're going to go through the Amazon Echo Dot 3rd generation, compare it to the Echo Dot 2nd generation, and of course, we're also going to compare it to the Google Home Mini. So let's get going. First up, let's start with a comparison of the Amazon Echo Dot 3 to the Amazon Echo Dot 2. Your big differential here is speaker quality and the microphone capability. So when we compare these two devices, what we have on the Echo Dot 3 is what I would call a speaker. On the Echo Dot 2, you're not going to want to use this speaker in a lot of cases. So let me give you a little demo of the differential between those two. Now, continuing down the list, it is the same voice assistant here on these two devices. They both have a 3.5 millimeter port for output to another speaker. You can also use Bluetooth to go ahead and control another speaker along with this. So you can go ahead and broadcast your favorite home speaker, whether or not it is an Amazon branded device. So both of those devices can do it. In terms of control, this is the same set of controls on the top of this device. You have the volume buttons, and you have the mute microphone, and you have the wake button, which will also factory reset your Amazon Echo Dot if you hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. Next up, there are 4 microphones on top of this, 4 far field microphones on top of this device, whereas there is 1 microphone on top of the Echo Dot 2nd generation. Now, in terms of how that changes your experience with the device, what I'll tell you is that in general, both of these devices are very good at hearing the wake word for that voice assistant. What changes here is the ability to understand what you've said from a far distance. In terms of speaking with the device while music is playing, you will still struggle the same way, and actually you can struggle a little more in getting this speaker to recognize the wake word. The reason for that is this speaker is so much more powerful and so much better than the Echo Dot 2nd generation that I can see where these far field microphones are struggling to pick up anything while they're playing music at that level. Now again, there is a big differential here in terms of what I've noticed for this Echo Dot 3rd generation in terms of what it's picking up as I speak to it. So, and this is coming from 20, 30 feet away. It is understanding what I'm saying entirely. And when I compare that to the Echo Dot 2nd generation, there were times where this was struggling to understand what I was saying. And I think as we've seen those reports come out with how many times the Echo Dot or the Google Home Mini or these other devices are answering queries and questions and responding to commands correctly, we've seen the percentage fall off, and I think Amazon has really addressed a lot of the voice assistant problems they have with this. In terms of a comparison from the voice assistant itself, these two devices are exactly the same, and so there's not an improvement there that I'm going to tell you about right out of the box. What I will say is that the application has moved in a direction that I think will only over time be supported by this. We're seeing the multi-room audio capabilities. Yes, this device did get a firmware update and is part of that. But you can see some of the home theater capabilities moving towards this device, some of the home control capabilities moving in the direction of this device, and clearly this is set up for the next couple of years from Amazon. So let's go ahead, let's remove this from the conversation. The price of those two devices is exactly the same, so we don't need to talk about this one any longer. All right, now it's time to review these two, compare these two to each other. let's get into this. The Amazon Echo Dot 3rd generation versus the Google Home Mini. Now, we know both companies have now come out, they've said, these are our products for the Christmas season here in 2018. We're not going to see any updates from either of these companies until the end of the year. The only updates will likely be with their respective voice assistants. Let's start with the most obvious thing. These two devices, in terms of speaker quality, are almost exactly the same. Let's go ahead and listen in. So I think you could see there was barely a differential between these two devices. In the end, I feel like the edge went to the Amazon Echo Dot 3. The balance, I think, was a little nicer. And the other thing is, the sound actually comes out the side of this speaker here. And whereas it's kind of coming out and up with the Google Home Mini, in general, I like the direction that Amazon has went here, and I think it works better in a bigger room setting. So for me, the edge goes to the Amazon Echo Dot 3. In terms of how they each hear you as they're playing music, or how they each hear you in the home and respond to you, the edge still goes to the Google Home Mini. This device, with the strength of the speaker, actually now struggles sometimes when it's playing music to pick up your wake word with it. This device can struggle in that way. What I find with the Google Home Mini is, in general, if you keep it out of an echoey space or keep it out of a corner, in general, this device will do very well hearing you over the music. You're still going to have to be loud with each of these devices to get them to wake up initially, and then they kind of dim the music or lower the music, and then they can hear you very well. In terms of a voice assistant, I'm still going to give the extra capabilities here to the Google Home Mini. The Google Assistant is far and away the best voice assistant on the market today. They've caught up in terms of routine capability, and their applications now have both received an update. Both of those updates are very good, but again, I'm giving that to the Google Home Mini. That application, the new Google Home application, is absolutely stunning. Now, that's not to say Amazon hasn't come out and put out a great new application, because they have. Their new setup sequence, or their new setup process that they created, is far and away the best on the market. If you want to start with a device, this is the easiest one to get into. And that's saying something when we think about all of the knowledge and background that Google has in terms of setting up and getting people started on different services. So the Amazon Echo Dot 3, in terms of its setup process and its application, are excellent. Where the differentiator comes in the application is this is a much more intuitive design when we're talking about home control. In terms of integration with smart home products, each of these have started to develop their own ecosystem. Really, both of the ecosystems are excellent. We're talking about tens of thousands of devices now that integrate, and services as well, that integrate with both of these products. So you can't really go wrong. You're not going to find a lot of products that work here that don't work here. Now, one differentiator to talk about in terms of sound, this device can now do multi-room audio, and this device could do that for a little bit here. You could have multiple devices playing music together. The differentiator, or the thing that's changed recently, is this can be added to multiple groups now. That wasn't possible before. The other thing that's happened is you can now add an Echo Sub. You can now pair it with an Echo Plus. You can now pair it with other devices, and you can start to get into that home theater speaker setup here with this device. Google really has not responded with that. So in terms of multimedia, this has moved a little bit ahead of the Google Home Mini. Overall, in terms of look and feel, both of these devices I think have a soft feel now. Obviously, we've seen that big change here with the soft exterior on the Amazon Echo Dot 3. They've really kind of taken a lesson from Google in regards to this. And I think it was a good lesson for them to learn here. This is a much softer device, and I like even the matte finish on the top of the Amazon Echo Dot. I think I even like that a little bit more than the Google Home Mini. So overall, both of these devices can sit anywhere in your home now, and they're not going to be an eyesore that sticks out. In terms of color options and capabilities, Google's come out with kind of that coral color and the mint color. That's what I'm calling it anyways. I think it's called something else, but the two colors there that they've produced, I really hope Amazon kind of takes another lesson from them and creates some more fun colors with this device. It might be a little difficult with this matte finish on the top of it, but again, both of these devices can sit anywhere in your home and look great now. So I think that's a pretty good comparative review. These two devices in terms of cost are really exactly the same on the market, and with all the sales that go on, you're not really going to see a difference between these two. $49 for the both of them. So like I said, I think the review comes out very, very similar now. In the past, when we were talking about that Amazon Echo Dot 2nd generation, I would have told you the Google Home Mini wins hands down. But what we now have, I think, are devices on equal footing in terms of home automation, the smart home, and just the capabilities from the voice assistant are getting much closer, with Amazon taking a look at how they're actually understanding your commands, producing those 4 microphones on this device and really shoring up that side of it. So overall, guys, what I think you have to choose here is which ecosystem do you want to enter into? Do you want to join in with Google, or do you want to join in with Amazon and their whole ecosystem of products? There, for me, I think it can be both. So, and I have both in my home. There's no problem with that. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.